The very best recording of My Lovely Rose of Clare is sung by PJ Murray from West Clare. Sings it with a beautiful Clare accent. Would love to hear it. We'll have a search for that, Sarah, and see if we can find it. 51551 ray@rte.ie.
The Ray D'Arcy Show on RTE Radio 1.
51551. Now, Paul Costello is going to guide us through the soundtrack to his life in a few minutes' time. That should be very tastefully done, him being a designer. But first, a lady we've spoken to the phone again and again and again over the last 5.5 months. And finally, we get to meet our intrepid walking person, Karen Penny.
It's lovely
Great
to be here.
See you.
Very
Great
nice to meet you, Ray.
Now, for people who've been living under a rock or going around with a cardboard box in their heads, you started in January from Rosslare.
Well, actually, I started in Wales in January.
In January, yes.
And then I caught the ferry over from Fishguard to Rosslare, and I arrived in Rosslare on the 3rd of February. And basically just started walking clockwise round Ireland.
Right.
And here I am today.
The coastal route.
The coastal route,
scenic route, yeah.
Scenic route.
And you're doing it to raise money and awareness for Alzheimer's research.
It is, yeah. And, sadly, following the loss of my husband's parents, one to vascular dementia, one with Alzheimer's, it was a passion that I felt very strongly about, especially with the view to raising awareness. And I combined that with a love of being outside, love of walking, and thought, well, why not sort of merge the two together, do the best you can, do the biggest you can, and why not just walk around the whole of Ireland and the UK? And then all of a sudden, it's a great big walk, isn't it? And people take notice then.
Did you think it through? Have you had moments of doubt as you walked around?
My mum doesn't think I think it through. She just still doesn't think that now. But
yeah.
Yes, I did. I think if I thought it through too much, I probably wouldn't have done it. So I think it's sometimes best just to have the shutters down and just go with your instinct and just get up and go. I just walked into Ireland and didn't know anybody, hadn't contacted anybody. I just left the B&B the first night and started walking the next day. And he was like giving me directions and saying, stick to the beach, or you need to come in here because there's a spit along there and you can't walk all the way along there. Yeah. And you're never going to get to Carlmore Quay, so the first day. You won't make it. I said, I will. And it's sort of that sort of inclination.
And you're basically keeping the water on your left. As long as the water's on your left.
Keep the sea on my left. I've made one mistake, the whole of Ireland, and that's when I went to Cushendon and not Cushendall.
Yes.
And then I had to pay for it by walking up a great hill over to the other side, so that on a hot day. So I have
Isn't that a lovely part
attention.
of the country, the Antrim coast?
Beautiful. It was beautiful, and lovely weather all the way down there as well. And very, very friendly. Everybody's been so amazingly helpful since day one, right through to today. It's absolutely amazing.
And people know you because you have a flag out of the back of your rucksack.
Yes, I have a flag at the back of my rucksack, and basically it was just waving in the wind a bit. And as I've gone along, people have said, well, that's not very good. You need to secure that down. So I've now got coat pegs on it,
right.
Those sort of clothesline pegs that people have added all the way to weight it down. And then when I got to Newcastle, the people I stayed with gave me one of those jackets, not invisibility jackets, the ones that you can
high
see,
visibility.
the yellow one, the high visibility.
The opposite.
Invisibility would be good too, wouldn't it?
That's like something out of Harry Potter.
Exactly.
The invisibility cloak.
Yeah, high visibility jacket, and they marked on it, the penny rolls on, and put a picture of me on it, which is really nice. That was a present. Yeah. And I think a little hint from maybe the local police saying, you really should be walking along the roads in a high visibility jacket.
So it's all happening. We'll come back to this morning in a moment, but in the coming week, you have to get from here down to Rosslare.
Yes. And sadly, 14th of June is my last day in Ireland. It's crept up on me. I don't really think about the journey as a whole. I think about it on a day-by-day basis. So when my husband said, your last day is the 14th of June, I went, oh, where's the time gone? Where's the rest of it gone? Surely there's 3 more weeks to go. Yeah, I hadn't really got my head around it. And of course then, I've sort of put up on social media that it's my last day, and people have sort of like, oh, really? We weren't expecting that. And, we want to come and see you and we want to wish you the best and things. So it's quite an emotional trip for the last 7 days. And my husband's decided to come over as well, which is fantastic. So we've got the camper van for the last week. So it'll be sort of walking and then jumping in the camper van at the end of the night. So it's nice from his point of view as well, because he sort of shares the end of my journey with me and hopefully gets to meet lots of people.
And it's the 7th of June, which is not exactly, but it's 6 months or thereabouts.
It'll be 6 months to the day, actually.
The
14th of June will be the 6 months to the day I actually left home.
Sorry, it's not the 7th, the 14th.
That's all right.
Today's the 7th.
It's exactly 6 months. I mean, I couldn't have planned it better. Exactly 6 months since I've left. Approximately 2,300 miles-ish. and also my father's birthday, who's 79, and he's absolutely delighted because he got a little bit emotional a couple of weeks ago, and then made me think about, well, when I get back to Wales, what's my next port of call? Am I going to go straight north, or am I going to take some time out and make sure I visit family? And, one of the things I've thought about is family as you go round, because you miss them.
Yeah.
And, he's just delighted that I'm coming home and that they're all coming down to see me. So I'm having a weekend off.
Right, because when you leave us, it's the coast of Ireland and Britain.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's basically back to Fishguard, where I started, and then head north, and I'll be is Anglesey and the Isle of Man, and then it'll be Liverpool, and then up to the Lake District and the southern uplands of Scotland, and then I've timed it really well because I arrive in Scotland slap back in the middle of winter. Yeah, you
well done. You didn't think it through.
No, exactly. If I thought it through, I wouldn't be doing it. You just got to get out there every day.
And when will you be
do
back in Wales then? When will you have done the whole trip?
Well, I'm much quicker than I thought I was going to be. I sort of guesstimated 8 months for Ireland, and here I am finishing it in about 5 months. So I think, with the wind behind me, I could finish this trip in about 2.5 to 3 years, as opposed to the 4 years which I originally guesstimated. A lot depends on weather, and of course ferries running and getting you to the islands and such like.
And the kindness of strangers.
It goes without saying, because, I set out with, no, I'll just camp every night. I'll be fine. I'll be in my tent every night. And you soon realise, actually, it's very draining to walk all day in the rain, get into your tent soaking wet and get up soaking wet. And I think, going back to when you first rang me all those months ago, we had a lovely lady called Margaret Roach who rang in the next day after I'd stayed with her. And she said, please put this woman up. Don't make her sleep in her tent overnight. And since then, I've hardly had to put my tent up at all, maybe about 10 times.
And you were honoured in the Mansion House this morning by the outgoing Lord Mayor. This is his last official duty, was it?
His last official duty, and what a nice man he is as well. I mean, extremely pleasant. He was so easy to talk to, and he loves a park run too.
Yes.
Fairview Park Run. Always an invite down there in the morning, Ray. I'm going.
Yes.
I'm going to be tail walking there in the morning. But yeah, it was his last outgoing duty. I think he's got some sort of function on this evening, which is the handover. So I was very delighted to sort of like.
What's it say? Presented to.
It says presented to Karen Penny in recognition of your wonderful efforts in raising awareness and funds for Alzheimer's research, and that's signed by Niall Ring, Lord Mayor of Dublin, 7th of June 2019. Brought a tear to my eye actually, because I didn't expect it. And actually, when people talk about you like that, it's very humbling, and it's emotional as well, because people have been so kind to me in the whole of Ireland.
We won't match that, Karen, but I tell you what, we'll give you a Ray Darce Show mug, and you're the first person. You're going to be the first person to receive a Run with Ray T-shirt.
Do you know what? Every day next week, isn't it? Run with Ray. I know. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's such a success.
And we're actually we're using the park run routes, and the stewards from the park runs in the areas are going to help us out as well, which is great. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say a huge thank you. I mean, I know it's a bit. There's been somebody in the background who I didn't really realise until I got all the way to Ardmore, and I went into a coffee shop and I said, "Could I have a scone and a coffee?" And that's my sort of cup of tea, really. That scone. Yeah. And they said, "Oh, yeah, it's all sorted." And I mean, how do you mean it's all sorted? No, I need to pay for it. No. Bill Flynn has already contacted us and had said you're coming, and we just want to give you a scone and a coffee. And Bill, who's come with me today to the studio, he's like a little mover and a shaker in the background, he won't mind me calling him that. And I said, who on earth is Bill Flynn? That's what I actually said to the shop. And that's the name of my book for Ireland, is Who on Earth is Bill Flynn?
Who is Bill Flynn?
Who is Bill Flynn? Who on earth is he? Whoever he is, he appears all the time, and he's made my journey very, very much easier as he's gone around. So I'm very, very much indebted to him.
So we have to wait for the book to find out who Bill Flynn is.
It's already writing. I'm already writing it. I hope to get that out before I even finish Wales.
Right. Who the hell is Bill Flynn? That's a great name for a book.
That's actually a better title.
Who the hell is Bill Flynn?
Exactly.
Yes. Karen, congratulations. I know you've 7 days and you've another 2.5 years to walk around the coast of Britain, but we've really enjoyed your company, and I know our listeners have as well. So thanks so much for talking to us over the last 5.5 months.
And thank you so much to you and your team. I really look forward to speaking to you every week. And without your support, honestly, you've made the journey so much easier for me. So thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Thank you very much.
The Ray Darcy Show on RTE